Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. In today's video, we're taking a look at Lego Marvel Set 76321, Spider-Man versus Doc Ock Subway Train scene. This set contains 393 pieces and really excited about the potential of this particular set. When it was first announced, I knew right away I'd want to be trying to motorize it and, get it into our layout here in the Lego room, and happy so far with how it's come together. Really big fan of the two characters here. You can see we've got Doc Ock attached to the roof, and we've got Spider-Man attached to the front of the subway car here. I think the minifigures are cool, and I think if we can get it to work nicely with them attached to the train car, it'll look awesome moving around the layout. Adds a level of dynamic sort of, action scene that I think will make this an interesting both train car to run around, and it should also be fun to take out to shows as well. Now, couple things to note here. One, I have powered this train car, so it is motorized. It'll run around the layout, fingers crossed, in a moment here. I'm using a powered up train motor on the front here, and then there's the battery box inside. You'll notice that battery box results in the roof being a little off kilter there. I think I can fix that up, so I'll make some adjustments later to try to get that to flatten out nicely. I have left the back half of the train car empty in case we want to wire through a second powered up train motor. So we'll see if that's necessary. This is the first of 4 copies that I'm building of this set. I've got 3 more ordered that are coming in. Not entirely sure yet whether we'll run this as a, 2 trains of 2 or maybe 1 subway train with 4 cars. In either case, 1 motor is probably enough, but if we did get to the 4 train cars, we might want to add that second motor in, might be useful. So we'll kind of play that by ear, but as a result of adding that battery box inside there, it did mean that we left the interior fairly empty. I didn't put in the seats that are a part of the interior for the set. Not super concerned about that. I don't think it's a big deal, especially for the 1 train car. The other ones that are going to be behind this, we can fill out the full interiors. Shouldn't be an issue, but just something to note there. One thing you will notice, we've got Spider-Man with 1 web coming along to the outside of the train car here. I like the dynamic nature of having the webs coming out, and holding him to the train. On the front of the box, they show a couple of different webs going each way, and they've got some bigger some bigger sections at the end of the webbing, signifying, grabbing bricks and stuff that are falling and trying to keep things in a safe place for the passengers of the train and a safe place for Spider-Man himself. But as this moves around the layout, we don't have a ton of clearance side to side. I think the way it's set up right now, we can probably get away with this extra distance sticking out here. And it is fairly flexible, so I don't think it'll cause any issues with other trains around the layout or buildings, but something we're gonna have to watch out if need be. I think we can tighten this up a little bit, and based on what we discover there, that'll kind of dictate what we do for the other side of Spider-Man and the train car there. Good thing about Doc Ock, being on the top part of the train car there, don't really foresee any issues in terms of height. I think we've got plenty of clearance for the train car and Doc Ock to make it underneath and around everything on the layout. But fingers crossed, we'll see how these run and if there's any gotchas that come up as a result of, that webbing or Doc Ock standing on top there. but, you know, hopeful to keep the general look of the scene here because I think it does add a lot. Now, other things to note before we start to run this and, you know, put it through its paces around the layout here. If we go to the other side, I was short one set of windows in the set. So I was missing basically one of these tall, narrow windows. So I filled that in with blocks or just standard gray 1x2 bricks there. Curious to see what happens with the other copies of the set that I've ordered. I'm hopeful that they'll have everything they're supposed to have in them, in which case I'm not too concerned about this one missing that piece. You know, I think that the 1x2 bricks there look fine. It's not a big deal, but if it's a systemic issue or at least a semi-common issue where those window pieces are missing, I'll have to get that ordered from Lego to sort of replace that missing part, because as far as I know, it's the only set that contains a gray window like this, and they are really nice, tall, narrow windows. So yeah, we'll see. It's just unfortunate when you are missing a part like that, you know, a very functional and key part to the build, you know, not dire. You know, I think that it looks okay with those bricks in there, but just unfortunate to have missing parts like that, and especially ones that are very unique to a set like this that, you know, you can't really replace any other way. I think that's most of what we want to cover at this point. I guess the only other thing to note, you can see on the back end of the train here, we've got the wheel sets that came with the subway car set. And at the front, we've got our motorized powered up train motor and wheels there. I will add some extra decoration and elements to that set of wheels there at the front, but I wanted to first off see how this performed before we go into any other sort of changes or augmentation to the set. So I think all that's left is to try running the train car and see how it's going to perform here. Oop, that's not the right way to go. Now, I think this should come through the rail yard here if I've got the switches still set like they were the other day. That's running pretty smoothly, pretty happy with that. I did not put the cracked window stickers onto the set. I didn't feel like that was necessary. So I've got those. I'll keep those for future use. I did put on the sticker at the very front and back on the top that shows the destination of the train. And then there's the circular train symbol stickers that are on the sort of medallions, one on each side of the subway car. So I was glad ultimately not too many stickers to sort of worry about or fiddle with. Really happy with how that's working, pretty smooth. And like I said, I think it's really neat having the characters on there. And with the additional 3 copies of that set, I think there's some additional sort of follow-up scenes that we can add with different superhero characters that should be fun, both to have, you know, in action and around the layout here in the Lego room, but will also be fun for people watching and looking at things at train shows that we take them to. Let's get a different angle on the train and the layout. It's fun, I think, how you can see the characters from a good distance, especially Doc Ock up on top there. And like I said, pretty happy with how smooth that is and the amount of speed that we're getting on the subway car. We could definitely add another car to that train without issue. You know, like I said, if we got up to 4 in one, maybe we would start to need that second motor. But even then, I'm pretty sure this is moving at a decent clip and probably wouldn't have any issues. It is worth noting that the set comes with 2 different ways to put the wheels underneath together. One is a more rigid fixed set of wheels that don't have any rotation to them. So that won't work if you're trying to run them on a train track like this. So I've got the sort of turntable spinny piece in there, which they also mention as a possible topper for the wheel sets, and that allows the wheels to rotate left and right as necessary when the train is going around corners. So just something to keep in mind. I'm glad they supported both options in there. It's actually kind of funny that they made a fixed wheel set at all. You know, I think that the allowing that rotation in the wheels is just a good policy regardless of how you're planning on using the set. But anyways, it's nice that they at least allowed for both options in there. But pretty happy with how this is working. So, you know, like I said, next step, we've got 3 more copies coming. We will build those out. We will look at getting them either all attached into this one train, or we might have them as 2 separate ones. And then we will also look at some different ways to handle Spider-Man's webs there so that we don't end up hooking onto any buildings or trains around the layout. So that we can have something that works on both sides of the train car there. And yeah, then it'll just be trying to build out some other superhero scenes on these train cars, which should be fun to work on as well. But definitely an excellent little set, and super happy to have this in our collection, and looking forward to continuing to sort of build it out and work on it. Now, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. And thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.